Have you ever stopped, truly stopped, and wondered, if I close my eyes, where am I? What am I? Where does my awareness end? And where does the world begin? For thousands of years, humans have traced the invisible, reaching with trembling hands towards something we could feel but not see. Something breathing behind every thought, glowing behind every heartbeat, calling itself in every language. The soul. But what if the soul is more than an idea? What if it has a shape? Ancient and ever-changing, etched in our myths, our bodies, even our galaxies. Tonight, we begin a journey, not through continents or stars, but across the deepest terrain, the inner map of being. We'll walk the stone corridors of Egypt, where the bay bird flutters from golden tombs. We'll sit with Plato under Athenian skies, spinning spheres out of pure thought. We'll climb the tree of life in mystic Kabbalah, swim through Upanishadic flames, and glimpse the rainbow bodies dissolving at death's door in the Himalayas. We'll follow the trail into laboratories, into fMRI scans, quantum lattices, and AI dreams, where modern science seeks the ghost in the machine. And we'll ask, what is myth and what is measurable? What is metaphor and what is map? Some say the soul is a flickering flame inside the heart. Others call it a vast field without boundary, woven from love, memory, and light. Still others insist the soul is an illusion, yet even illusions cast shadows, and perhaps in their outlines we glimpse a deeper truth. Throughout this voyage, we'll trace three master symbols: light, awareness without edges; flight, the spirit's longing for freedom; circle, wholeness beyond beginning or end. Every culture dreams its own shapes, yet hidden beneath the differences are echoes, as if the soul has always tried to describe itself in the best language each age could find. Today, standing between ancient myth and emerging science, we may be closer than ever to a new cartography of the unseen, and yet the soul, if it has any true nature at all, may still be something no map can hold. A flame dancing just beyond the last drawn line, daring us to follow. So let us begin. Let us breathe and listen. Let us become cartographers of the invisible. Because the question isn't just, does the soul have a shape? The question is, what shapes can the soul become through wonder, through grief, through love? This is Syntax of the Soul. Episode 1. Does the soul have a shape? And now, our journey begins. The beings of all worlds are so many grains of dust in the wide expanse of the universe, now safe, now lost, or as a bubble of the sea, sprung from nothing and born to be destroyed. But the perfect and independent soul is not destroyed, but remains ever the same. It is identical with the substance of God. Know this, that consciousness is stillness. Consciousness is the spiritual awareness of being, of all knowing, all power, and all presence. Thinking is the motionless principle in light and sound, which creates the illusion of motion. The soul of man belongs to the static, invisible, conscious, unconditioned world of knowing. Perception is the electrical awareness of motion, simulating the created imaged qualities of separate forms which seem to have material substance. Consciousness is real, and perception simulates reality through motion of interchanging lights. But the mirage of a city is not the city it reflects. Soul of man is inborn and indestructible. It has no age, no classification in accordance to Earth classification, and can transcend time, space, and causation. Consciousness is stillness. Our awareness is fundamentally unmoving, silent, and unchanging. A background presence in which all thoughts, sensations, and experiences arise and pass away. This stillness is not merely the absence of physical or mental activity, but an ever-present underlying state that remains, no matter what occurs in the mind or the world. 14 billion years ago, an emerald silence shattered into incandescent possibility. From that first whisper of energy came everything that would ever blaze, crumble, sing, or suffer, including the eyes now reading these words. Across centuries, we've called the animating mystery soul. Yet, if soul is real, what is its contour? Plato described a perfect sphere, self-contained and self-knowing. Egyptian priests painted a human-headed bird, the ba, flitting above its mummified host. Upanishadic sages spoke of a diamond-bright ember the size of a thumb glowing in the secret heart, while Aristotle said, "The soul is not a shape at all, but the living form of a body, its capacities to grow, sense, and think." Today, fMRI scanners watch Tibetan monks dissolve their body map. Quantum theorists hunt non-local whispers in microtubules. Each model hints, none agrees. So we begin a 2-hour pilgrimage through tombs and test tubes, mandalas and mainframes, to ask, does the soul possess outline, or do outlines bloom wherever soul looks? Breath is our oldest metaphor. In Greek, psyche means both soul and breath. Hebrew ruach and Arabic ruh mean spirit and wind. Breath has no edges yet fills a chest, felt but unseen. Perfect emblem for unseen life force. Still, imagination craves shape. The Homeric Psyche left the dying warrior as a phantom copy. Early Christians pictured a tiny child soul lifted by angels. Renaissance alchemists painted the anima as a radiant woman. Even cultures that proclaim soul formless end up cloaking it in wings, halos, or spheres, as if mind can endure mystery only when dressed in geometry. Across epochs, 3 master symbols recur: light, flight, and circle. Light represents awareness, impossible to grasp, yet source of every color. Flight evokes mobility of spirit, the phoenix rising, or butterfly of psyche. Circle speaks wholeness, halos, mandalas, auric eggs. These images braid into a code older than scripture. Tonight we will decode it, layer by layer, lens by lens. We'll start with ancient cartographies. Egyptian Ba and Ka, Platonic world soul, Stoic pneuma, Upanishadic thumb flame. Then pivot to medieval and mystical geometries. Kabbalah's 5-level soul, Sufi lamp within niche, Buddhist rainbow body. Midway, we meet neuroscience. Embodied cognition, default mode shutdown, torus heart fields, psychedelic brain harmonics. Finally, we enter quantum and information frontiers. Penrose Hameroff Orc-OR, pattern identity, extended mind theory, digital avatars, and deepfake afterlives. By the final minute, you may decide the soul is sphere, network, wave, or word, yet perhaps its true shape is the capacity to transcend any given shape. Keep an open compass. Every breath redraws the map. Begin in Egypt, where mortuary texts describe a soul with multiple layers. The Ka is vital spark, twin of the body, depicted as upraised arms or a ghostly double. The Ba is personality, shown as a bird with human head, able to leave the tomb by day and perch by night upon the mummy. For Egyptians, the Ba remains recognizably you. Therefore, it must carry a silhouette, small, feathered, yet wearing the same face. Funerary papyri show bay birds sipping water, smelling incense, proving a quasi-physical existence. Proper ritual unites Ba and Ka into the Ak, a radiant form granted access to celestial realms. Note the built-in geometry. Tombs align with cardinal points, sarcophagi decorated with star maps. The journey of the soul is plotted like the sun's nightly voyage through Duat. Shape and path are inseparable. Shift to Greece. Homer's warriors exhale their psyches as breath that drifts to Hades. Later, vase painters render that breath as a tiny winged homunculus. Again, mini-me imagery. Plato grandly imagines the world's soul, a cosmic sphere spun from same and other, cut into harmonic strips forming the orbits of planets. For individual souls, he offers the chariot allegory, a rational driver steering noble and ignoble horses. Aristotle counters, soul is not a ghost, but the body's actuality. If eyes were tools, sight would be their soul. Remove sight, and eyes are dead matter. Thus, for Aristotle, the soul shares the body's outline the way tune shares a lyre. No soul without strings, no music without instrument. Hellenistic Stoics restore subtle materialism. Soul is pneuma, fire breath interpenetrating flesh, giving cohesion. When we die, pneuma disperses. Sages' souls, composed of hotter pneuma, may endure in cosmic fire. The key idea? The soul's shape matches the body, but finer in substance. Across the Mediterranean, Hebrew prophets speak of the neshama, divine breath, and the heart as dwelling of spirit. Kabbalists elaborate a 5-layer structure: nefesh, vital; ruach, emotional; neshama, intellect soul; chaya, life force; yechida, oneness. Picture concentric light sheaths, each subtler than the last, mapped onto the tree of life diagram, a human silhouette embedded in 10 sephirot. Geometry again, this time mystical. Travel east. Upanishadic sages claim the self within is smaller than the smallest seed, yet greater than the greatest mountain. One verse calls it the size of a thumb. Thumb flame flickering inside the lotus of the heart. Another claims it's 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. Vedanta reconciles opposites. Soul is dimensionless consciousness that appears point-like to meditation, infinite when realized. Jain philosophers solve the riddle by granting soul elastic volume. It expands or contracts to fit every body, from microbe to titan. Here, shape is adaptive, a cosmic shapeshifter. Buddhism upends the board, anatta, no permanent soul. What persists is a stream of aggregates, like candlestick flames relighting. Yet Tibetan Buddhism describes the rainbow body. At death, flesh shrinks, nails and hair fall, light effuses into space. Monks vanish, leaving only robes. The body of light suggests that through rigorous practice, consciousness can manifest as pure luminosity, shape translated into photon. Sufi mystics polish the mirror heart so divine light may reflect. The Quran's light verse describes a niche within which burns a lamp, glass sparkling like a star, a neural architecture for the soul. Rumi calls the soul a reed flute, longing for the reed bed. Longing itself gives it contour, music its evidence. Across traditions, 3 archetypes recur: bird, flame, mirror. Bird soars beyond body, flame flickers immortal, mirror reflects the infinite. These metaphors seed art and ritual, encoding invisible reality into visible shape. Enter the laboratory. Neuroscience cannot weigh a soul, but it maps correlates of self. The default mode network, a midline web, creates narrative identity. During deep meditation or psilocybin sessions, this hub quiets. Subjects report boundary loss, union with light. fMRI shows new global connectivity. Brain's private provinces forming a republic of synchrony. Electroencephalograms record 40 Hz gamma bursts in monks sustaining compassion. Their awareness feels expansive, unbounded. Does the soul swell as networks harmonize? Cardiologists detect a donut-shaped electromagnetic field around the heart, extending meters. Heart math researchers claim emotional states modulate this torus, influencing nearby nervous systems. Skeptics call it ordinary EM noise, yet its toroidal geometry eerily mirrors clairvoyant sketches of the aura. Perhaps biology itself projects the age-old halo. Out-of-body illusions deepen the puzzle. Stimulate the temporoparietal junction, and volunteers feel perched above their shoulders. In VR studies, swapping visual perspective plus synchronized taps convinces subjects that a mannequin's body is theirs. The brain treats location of self as negotiable. If soul equaled body outline, such tricks would fail. Instead, self appears as a process that can relocate, resize, momentarily detach. Psychedelic therapy resurrects shamanic visions. Patients describe spiraling tunnels, crystalline lattices, insectoid angels. Brain imaging shows entropic liberation. Rigid patterns dissolve into fractal activity. Users say, "My soul unfolded like origami into endless mirrors." Science measures entropy. Mystics supply metaphor. Both report shape-shifting interiors. Trauma reveals another contour of soul. Survivors of near-fatal events often speak of a hole in the chest, a cold draft where warmth once lived. Somatic therapists guide them to visualize threads of light stitching that gap. Heart rate variability rises, nightmares recede. Healers in the Amazon blow tobacco smoke over a patient's body and comb invisible knots with leaves. Indigenous language calls this soul retrieval. Fragments lost to shock must be coaxed back, like birds returning to a tree. Neuroscience frames it as restoring interoceptive coherence, yet the subjective map is one of tears and seams. Repair suggests fabric. Fabric implies shape. Across cultures, seekers draw circles to center the unseen. Tibetan monks paint mandalas, concentric palaces guarding a cosmic seed. Jung found similar images erupting from modern patients, calling them archetypes of the self. When logic fails, geometry surfaces from Psyche like an island from sea. The circle quartered, the lotus of 8 petals, the 8-spoked Dharma wheel, rotations of meaning where Psyche glimpses totality. The shape is not random, it is symmetry, wholeness, unbreakable continuity. Aura photography, dubious yet captivating, shows rainbow coronas around subjects. Scientists point to coronal discharge artifacts. Mystics see energetic sheaths. Rudolf Steiner described an auric egg, colors swirling with moods, anger reds, serenity blues. Kirlian leaves cut in half sometimes reveal a phantom outline of the missing piece, sparking tales of etheric templates. Whether falsifiable or not, humanity keeps painting invisible light over the body, insisting life radiates form beyond flesh. Near-death experiencers report tunnels, gardens, orbs of knowledge. A cardiac arrest patient floats above the gurney, noting a dropped instrument later verified. Critics say anoxia crafts hallucination. Experiencers swear geometry beyond geometry cradled them in compassion. The common motifs, tunnel, light, panoramic life review, suggest a choreography more than chaotic firing. Perhaps dying unweaves the loom, while leaving pattern lingering like afterimage on retina. We are pattern-hungry beings. The efficiency of DNA, the fractal of lungs, the spiral of galaxies, all echo in our metaphors for soul. When the Romans carved winged psyches on sarcophagi, they weren't naive. They were encoding a principle. Consciousness is migratory, lighter than marble, yet carved in memory. Each era chisels the same intuition with its sharpest tool: stone, scripture, MRI voxel. Turn to the quantum frontier. Roger Penrose saw gaps in algorithmic explanation. Consciousness, he argued, involves non-computable insights linked to Platonic geometry embedded in spacetime. Enter anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, pointing to microtubules, protein lattices inside neurons capable of quantum coherence. Their joint OR model proposes that wave function collapses in these lattices orchestrate conscious moments. If microtubules are quantum resonators, each collapse could be a pixel in the movie of awareness. Death would disperse the quantum information back into cosmic foam. Reincarnation becomes re-entanglement with new matter. Skeptics counter. Warm brains decohere too fast. Penrose's gravity-induced collapse lacks lab proof. Yet experiments show photosynthesis and bird navigation exploiting quantum effects at body temperature. In 2020, scientists found room temperature quantum vibrations in proteins. The debate stays alive because it offers a scientific slot for a non-local soul, a shimmer of coherence shaped not by bone but by maths. Meanwhile, Quantum Bayesianism paints wave functions as personal belief states. Reality renders specific only when an agent observes. If every electron is an agent updating probabilities, pan-experientialism sneaks back wearing a lab coat. The measurement problem becomes a metaphysical whisper. Perhaps the soul is the universe's habit of answering its own questions. The holographic principle adds another lens. Information on a boundary encodes a volume's contents, like a 2D sheet projecting 3D depth. If black hole horizons store everything that falls in, might the brain's cortical surface be a mini hologram, the soul its volumetric projection? Neurophysiologist Carl Pribram once proposed exactly that. Perception emerges from holographic interference patterns in cortex. Again, shape dissolves into pattern of waves, peaks and troughs, weaving images out of phase relationships. Physicist David Bohm saw implicate order enfolding explicit forms. Consciousness, he said, is streamlike, unbroken. Our apparent separateness is a ripple's illusion of independence from ocean. If so, soul isn't in, around, or above the body. The body is a momentary crease in a thinking cosmos. Geometry of self? Fold in space-time. Shift to digital horizons. Pattern identity theory recasts soul as the sum of information states that define a person. If scanners could capture neuronal microstructure, a mind upload might boot in silicon. Philosophers ask, is that you or merely a copy? If continuity of consciousness requires uninterrupted stream, the copy lacks your soul. Yet if identity lacks pattern, duplicate use could share one essence like browsers opening the same cloud document. The shape, then, is distribution, soul smeared across server farms. Ethicists tremble at deepfake afterlife. AI models trained on chat logs resurrecting deceased voices, comfort for widows, nightmare for ontologists. A synthetic dad responds with plausible love, but does algorithmic empathy contain presence? The uncanny valley widens into metaphysical canyon. The extended mind hypothesis already stretches self into notebooks, smartphones, clouds. Your phone remembers birthdays your neurons forgot. Is that annex soul tissue? Each Google search augments epistemic reach. The moment technology mirrored neural nets, the soul's outline blurred, turning cyborg. Futurist Teilhard de Chardin foresaw a noosphere, planetary thinking layer encasing Earth like luminous shell. Its geometry, a living sphere of interlinked minds, digital synapses flashing in fiber optic rivers. Social media manifests a primitive noosphere. Memes leap synaptically, shaping opinions faster than reflection. Does virality sculpt collective soul? Online outrage holes tear communal aura, while global empathy waves, charity drives, climate marches stitch it. Shape here is network topology, clusters, hubs, bridges. Graph theory becomes spiritual cartography. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman posits reality as user interface. Perceptions are icons, not things. Evolution hides truth, shows only survival-relevant symbols. The soul, under this lens, is the operating system experiencing itself through simplified graphics. Red heart for love, blue sky for freedom. Could death be logging off one interface into a richer, icon-free desktop? Ethics bloom where metaphysics meets real life. If soul radiates beyond skin, cruelty boomerangs through unseen ligaments. Indigenous nations speak of Wetiko, a cannibal spirit of greed that devours communal soul. Modern trauma science echoes. Systemic injustice embeds stress biomarkers across generations. Damaging others dents the field we share. Conversely, compassion appears to remodel shape. Functional MRI finds altruistic acts light up ventral striatum, the brain's reward core, while oxytocin floods bloodstream, expanding trust radius. Monastic traditions codified this. Metta-meditation, loving-kindness prayers, Tonglen breathing pain in, breathing relief out. Practitioners report a felt widening of energy body, a swelling warmth dragging edges outward like sunrise. Science measures vagal tone, mystics map auric width. 2 languages, 1 cartography. Art shapes soul too. Jungian analyst James Hillman wrote that every image sparks psyche into visibility. When Mozart carves silence with sound, listeners feel soul chambers enlarge. When a graffiti wing appears on a city wall, pedestrians pose, borrowing angel shape for selfies. For a heartbeat, they inhabit archetype. Ritual sculpts communal soul. Sufi whirling, Hopi snake dance, Catholic Eucharist, all choreograph body, breath, and focus into shared geometry. Synchrony of movement and song entrains heartbeats. Oxytocin synchronizes. EEGs show phase-locking alpha waves. The group becomes a single resonant cavity. Collective soul gains temporary architecture, call it cathedral of rhythm. In therapy rooms, narrative reframes carve new corridors in self-map. Telling one's story to a witness rethreads memory, closing loops of frozen time. Psychologists see neural reconsolidation. Shamans see soul pieces coming home. The brain scans and the drum beats depict same mining of form from fluid experience. Approach the edge again. Stand under stars. Exhale. Feel ribcage echo constellations. Whether soul is electromagnet, quantum foam, or mythic bird matters less than lived geometry of awe. Perhaps the question is not, what shape is the soul, but what shapes can the soul become through attention and care? Each breath drafts blueprint. Each choice revises it. Zoom into the cell. Mitochondria emit biophotons, weak pulses of light correlated with metabolic rhythms. Some researchers speculate these photons synchronize cellular clocks, maybe even assist neural communication. If the body is already aglow at nanowatt scale, mystic visions of luminous bodies gain a biochemical foothold. Turn 1 notch larger. EEG caps translate voltage waves into swirling heat maps. To the untrained eye, they resemble auric paintings, spots of red agitation, pools of cool blues. We are seeing electrical topography, yet the shapes echo ancient clairvoyant sketches. Language diverges, but the map overlaps. Valleys of theta, ridges of beta, storms of gamma, all moving weather in a sky of mind. Move outward again. Earth's magnetosphere sings in Schumann resonances. Low-frequency waves, lightning bolts ring around the globe. Some cardiologists note these rhythms overlap with human heart coherence. During global events, solar storms, mass meditations, tiny shifts register in magnetometer networks. Correlation isn't causation, but the poetry is tantalizing. Perhaps the planet's pulse faintly conducts the symphony of collective feeling. In Vedic myth, Hiranyagarbha, the golden embryo, was the cosmic heart whose throb birthed universes. Modern sensors record a literal heartbeat in the ionosphere. Myth and metric shake hands. What then of pets who know their owner's return? Twins sharing pain across oceans, mothers sensing a child's accident at distance. Mainstream science chalks it to coincidence, subconscious cues. Yet parapsychology experiments find statistical blips, presentiment in skin conductance, dream telepathy scoring above chance, not proof but smoke. If mind fields interlace, soul's shape might be non-local mesh, filaments spanning loved ones like mycelium under forest floor. Cutting one strand, tugs others. Healing one node nourishes many. Indigenous healers knew this in bone. Treat a warrior's wound by chanting his name at sunrise. Tribe health upticks. Death re-enters the dialogue. Tibetan Bardo Thodol guides consciousness through 6 realms after heartbeat stops. It warns, whatever form arises, wrathful deities, blissful lights, is projection of mind. Recognize projection, and liberation dawns. Otherwise, you gravitate into new wombs matching vibratory habit. Rebirth here is resonance, like attracts like. Shape follows frequency. Neuroscientist Carl Friston's free energy principle oddly rhymes. Systems minimize surprise by inhabiting states they can predict. Even atoms choose low-energy shapes. Perhaps souls do too, drifting into bodies whose karmic equations fit. Mystics across faiths recount life review panoramas, each deed felt through eyes of recipient. The geometry is mirror hall, actions ricochet in empathic echo. When near-death survivors return, many adopt altruism, the field rearranged by moral geometry glimpsed outside time. Medical journals document personality shifts post-NDE, reduced fear, increased purpose. Brain damage alone rarely yields such pro-social surge. If circuitry changes, it may be downstream of repatterned identity. Soul shape mutates, body rewires to match. Cryonics ventures to trap that pattern in ice. Vitrify brains at 196 degrees C, hoping future tech revives connectome. Critics say freezing ruptures membranes. Optimists point to revival of pig brains 4 hours post-mortem with some cellular function. But consciousness? Unknown. Even if neurons re-spark, does the thawed network recall its interior glow? Without continuous awareness, gulf yawns, like teleporting copy with original incinerated. Identity's continuity is the paradox no lab yet solves. Philosopher Derek Parfit argued personal identity is pattern, not point. If continuity breaks but pattern persists, survival is matter of degree, not all or nothing. Under Parfit, soul's shape could be series of overlapping selves, like frames of film. Burn a few, narrative still reads. In quantum terms, decoherence doesn't erase superposition info, it disperses into environment. Maybe death diffuses pattern into cosmic background, soul as subtle static across the dial, tunable by unknown receivers. Return to the body, portal of every theory. Somatic awareness schools teach tracking micro-sensations, tingling at fingertips, warmth behind knees. Practitioners report discovering interior landscapes, caverns in pelvis, rivers along spine. Whether neurological map or astral terrain, plotting sensation unfolds cartography. Feldenkrais suggested movement reprograms self-image. Each novel gesture redraws cortical homunculus. Dancers call this listening to fascia. The shape of soul might simply be the sum of proprioceptive echoes, a choreography of proprioception singing, "I am here." Sound traverses threshold between physics and ritual. Overtone chanting, crystal bowls, church organs, they vibrate bone, blood, pineal fluid. Cymatics demonstrates sand arranging into mandalas on a plate struck by frequency. If cells rest on cymatic substrate, maybe mantra sculpts tissue, ergo, psyche. Tinnitus sufferers sometimes frame ringing as kundalini rising, unwanted but formative. Neuroscientists talk of thalamocortical dysrhythmia, yet neuroplasticity training turns noise into silence. Where science sees misfire, mystic sees blocked channel. Both seek retuning. Color therapy, though fringe, touches universal instinct. Colors feel, blue calms, red alerts. Visual cortex and limbic system intertwine, thus aura photographs color code mood. Whether camera captures spirit or just galvanic skin response, correlation reveals symbolic grammar. Warm hues for active soul, cool for contemplative. That grammar seeps into idiom. Green with envy, yellow-bellied, body metaphor bridging internal state and aesthetic. We cannot ignore shadow, the soul's occluded contour. Jung warned that unacknowledged shadow projects onto enemies, feeding war. Integration rituals, sweat lodge, confession, psychedelic ceremony invite shadow into light. Participants often describe shapes, serpents emerging from gut, black smoke leaving crown, ancestral masks dissolving. Therapists note trauma memory encoded in right hemisphere as nonverbal image. Expressive art externalizes it into form, allowing prefrontal narration to integrate. Thus, giving shape to pain frees shape of soul. Technology promises new mirrors. Neurofeedback helmets let novices reach theta-gamma harmony once reserved for monks. VR meditation domes wrap gaze in shifting mandalas that respond to breath sensors, teaching self-regulation via spectacle. Haptic suits pulse along meridian lines, simulating qi flow. Some users exit sessions feeling an energy exoskeleton, a taught-through illusion or awakened perception. Distinction blurs, experience becomes reality for nervous system. The tool shapes subject. Subject shapes next tool. Recursive design of soul. Artificial intelligence now generates art from text prompts. Ask it shape of soul, and it births glimmering silhouettes, glass spheres filled with galaxies. Algorithms trained on collective imagination echo archetype soup back to us. We feed machine musings. Machine crystallizes vision. We believe vision. Feedback loop might accelerate discovery of ever subtler soul geometries, or trap us in echo chamber of previous myths. Responsibility shifts. Curate prompts with integrity, else simulacra eclipse source. Biotech edges nearer to optogenetic memory implants. Scientists flash engram cells with light, creating false memories in mice. If memory scaffolds self, editing recollection edits soul shape. Ethics lag behind capability. Will future therapy erase grief? If so, will trimmed soul lose learned compassion? Kintsugi shows broken pottery mended with gold becomes more beautiful. Maybe soul's cracks are where light enters. Climate crisis reframes metaphysics. Burning forests feel like severing planetary meridians. Indigenous prophecy views Amazon as Earth's heart chakra. Wildfires read as arrhythmia. Ecopsychology argues human soul coextends with biosphere. Mental health graphs align with biodiversity curves. Healing soul thus equals rewilding Earth. Greta's cry is not politics. It's global psyche defending contour. End this quartet with silence. Imagine breath pausing between inhale and exhale. In that gap, no name, no story, only witness. Shape, none. Yet potential of every curve. Wisdom traditions cherish such gaps. Zen's Koyan, Sufi Fana, Hesychast prayer of heart. Scientists note transient global amnesia episodes where self dissolves, leaving placid awareness. Patients later recall it as terror or transcendence, depending on frame. Frame is chisel, soul the marble. Consider sacred geometry, a language where number marries myth. The flower of life, etched on Assyrian temples and New Age stickers alike, unfolds as interlocking circles birthing hexagons, seeds, and buds. Mystics claim every petal encodes musical ratios, planetary orbits, even DNA spirals. Biologists observe that microtubules inside neurons assemble in spirals obeying Fibonacci sequences. Pine cones, galaxies, and hurricanes echo the same logarithmic swirl. If consciousness emerges through microtubular resonance, perhaps the soul's signature is a phi spiral, endlessly approximating beauty without closure. Pythagoreans called such harmony the music of the spheres, implying soul sings itself into form through proportion. Modern mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot showed how fractals reveal infinite detail within finite bounds, qualities not unlike introspection. Zoom on the Mandelbrot set. Miniature selves bloom along edges, each echo of the whole whispering unity amidst diversity. Meditators exploring inner vision often report auric lattices fractaling into smaller duplicates, psychedelic proof of recursive self. The body, too, embodies geometry, The cochlea coils, 2.75 turns like a golden ratio spiral. The heart's left ventricle twists in figure-8 ring motion. DNA makes a double helix mirrored in Kundalini's twin serpents. These shapes are not decoration. They optimize flow, tension, information. When yoga postures trace these arcs, practitioners feel alignment with cosmic blueprint, a proprioceptive theology. Researchers measuring fascia elasticity find tensegrity models, geodesic trusses distributing load. Buckminster Fuller coined tensegrity to describe synergistic structures. Healers say it describes subtle body webs. Damage one node, tension redistributes. Release a hip knot, shoulder pain eases. Shape is function. Liberation travels structure. Language crafts shape in mental space. Inuit languages hold dozens of snow words, shaping nuanced perception. Similarly, Sanskrit's many consciousness terms, chid, chetana, prajna, sculpt philosophical subtlety. Neuroscience of linguistic relativity shows vocabulary nudges, color, discrimination, spatial reasoning, even memory. Thus, soul's contours may differ by tongue. Speak of ki, you feel energy rivers. Speak of psyche, you feel inner dialogue. Bilingual meditators report different emotional textures per language. The story we tell about soul becomes architecture we inhabit. Music is vibrational sculpture. Gregorian chant bathes stone cathedrals in overtone halos. Indian raga aligns notes to times of day, seasons, moods, tuning psyche to cosmic clock. MRI studies show musical chills activate reward circuitry and default mode suspension. Paralleling mystical bliss. Cymatic plates sprinkled with sand reveal frequency-specific mandalas. Low bass makes simple circles. Higher pitch spawns complex stars. Imagine soul as dynamic cymatic pattern in cerebrospinal fluid. Each mood, a standing wave. Trauma may be dissonant overtone. Therapy retunes instrument. Dreams forge shapes nightly. REM scans show limbic storms projecting archetypal images. Lucid dreamers practice shape-shifting, flying, merging with light, becoming animal. Tibetan dream yoga trains awareness to treat dream body as malleable, prepping for Bardo transit. Western labs confirm neural plasticity. Practicing motor tasks in lucid dreams improves waking performance. If souls practice in dream simulators, shape becomes rehearsal for post-mortem navigation. Historical nexus. Renaissance. Hermeticists blended Greek, Egyptian, and Hebrew wisdom, birthing images like the Vitruvian man, a human inscribed in circle and square, microcosm of macrocosm. Alchemists painted Ouroboros, serpent-eating tail, soul cycle of death rebirth. Psychologist Hillman says alchemy encoded Psyche's transformation stages in vessel imagery: nigredo, blackening; albedo, whitening; rubedo, reddening. Each stage felt bodily: pressure in skull, chills, fiery chest. Contemporary depth therapy echoes: depression as nigredo, insight as albedo, integration as rubedo. Thus, shape of soul is procession of color states, not static outline. Fast forward. Astronauts experiencing the overview effect describe ego boundaries dissolving when Earth appears as fragile blue bead. Neuroscientists attribute awe to decreased activity in DMN and increased salience network connectivity, but astronauts call it spiritual awakening. Some report luminous body sensations, tingling palms, tears. Perhaps distance recalibrates self-map. When home fits in helmet visor, soul inflates to planetary size. Similar perspective shifts occur during wilderness solos, silent vipassana, or losing oneself in a newborn's gaze. Scale is relative. Soul scales with wonder. Modern trauma research reveals polyvagal theory. Vagus nerve branches mediate social engagement. Fight-flight, freeze. Safe connection activates ventral vagal circuit. producing warmth around heart. Patience describe an expanding bubble. Danger collapses bubble. Dorsal vagal shutdown feels like falling into void. Vagus is literal wand-shaping felt perimeter. Breathing exercises, chanting, laughter, all vagal tonics, thereby modulate soul contour. Let us weave threads. Geometry offers wholeness. Light offers presence. Breath offers movement. Information theory offers pattern. Quantum theory offers non-local fabric. Neuroscience offers dynamic networks. None alone captures the soul, yet together they hint at a polymorphic phenomenon, an ever-shifting field that adopts shapes conducive to meaning. Imagine a future ritual. Pilgrim enters mixed reality temple. Sensors read heart field, brain waves, microbiome smells. AI projects personalized mandala overhead, an animated map of current soul shape. As Pilgrim breathes, slowed 6 per minute cadence, mandala morphs, edges smoothing. Music retunes, scented breeze carries desert sage. Pilgrim feels chest sun bloom. Science and myth converge in participatory liturgy. But technology cuts both ways. Advertisers weaponize psychometrics, soul shadow exploited to nudge votes. Teen feeds filter life through dopamine loops, shaping self-image into commodity. If soul assumes platform architecture, we must design humane platforms. Ethics becomes architecture design. Code as karma, interface as reincarnation cycle. Hope lies in meta-awareness, the ability to notice shape as provisional. Meditation trains this, so does art, dialogue, play. Children shapeshift effortlessly. Stick becomes sword, bed becomes ship. Adult soul ossifies under labels. Practice melts crust, reveals mercury core. Lao Tzu. Clay is shaped into vessel, yet it is the emptiness that holds water. Soul may be the emptiness generating endless forms. We close this segment with a koan. If soul has shape, show it without pointing. Whatever image arises, bird, sphere, circuit, bow, then let it fly. The shape that remains when no image suffices may be closest to truth. Consider the healing arts. Acupuncturists speak of meridians, 12 rivers of qi weaving flesh. Western anatomy missed these channels, yet fascia research reveals continuous collagen highways able to transmit piezoelectric signals. Ultrasound shows fluid flow along needle paths. Perhaps meridian maps are early drafts of bioelectric circuits, soul shape described by sensation before microscopes existed. Similarly, Ayurveda charts nadis and chakras. MRI spectroscopy finds cerebrospinal fluid vibrations at chakra frequencies when yogis chant seed syllables. Correlation is not confirmation, yet resonance keeps appearing. Ancient maps overlap emerging data like stars aligning behind clouds. Inside psychotherapy, internal family systems posits multiple sub-personalities: angry child, protective manager, exiled exile. Healing comes when the capital S self, expansive, calm, curious, hosts the parts. Clients visualize self as sphere of light embracing inner figures. Imaging shows increased medial prefrontal coherence when clients access self. Again, subjective contour meets neural topology. A luminous center coordinating nested shapes. Turn to language of numbers. Physicist Max Tegmark calls reality a mathematical structure. Consciousness, he says, may be information processing within that structure, a pattern that, once instantiated, feels like something. If mathematics underlies existence, soul shape might reduce to code, graph vertices, adjacency matrices. Buddhist scholar Alan Wallace counters, awareness could be a fundamental field, irreducible to math. Which is primary, equation or experience? The argument echoes centuries: idealist versus materialist, form versus emptiness. Neurologist Oliver Sacks wrote of patients whose visual neglect cut objects in half. They ate only food on right plate side. Their soul's visual field literally lost shape. Once lesion healed, shape restored. Experience is plastic, yet tied to tissue. Gene editing CRISPR now lets us sculpt life blueprint. If we alter neural crest genes shaping face, personality may shift via social feedback. Modify oxytocin receptor, empathy modulates. Does soul co-carve with genome? Epigenetics says trauma scars, DNA methylation. Grandchildren inherit altered stress response. Thus, soul shape spans generations, braided into double helix. Ethnographers find shamans worldwide describing soul loss after fright. Cure involves journey to underworld retrieving lost part. Psych trauma research parallels. Dissociation upon abuse. EMDR or psychedelics reintegrate memory, restoring agency. Ayahuasca ceremonies often feature jaguar or serpent guides, archetypal shapes escorting consciousness through fractal jungle. Post-ceremony EEG shows increased alpha-theta cross-frequency coupling, predictive of maintained psychological gains. Soul retrieval and synaptic rewiring may be two readings of one event. Dream technology emerges. Targeted memory reactivation plays scent or sound cues during REM to bias dream content. Soon, personal myth engineering may tune nightly narrative to foster growth, consciously shaping subconscious cinema. If dream is rehearsal for soul after body, these edits become sculptor's tools. But caution, architect of one's own myth risks narcissistic labyrinth. Community, ritual, elders, safeguard orientation. Planetary scale. Gaia hypothesis frames Earth as self-regulating organism. Feedback loops of climate, microbes, forests behave like metabolism. If planet has soul, its shape could mirror magnetosphere, teardrop bubble shielding solar wind, or mycelial networks distributing nutrients. Satellites track Earth's heartbeat, seasonal CO2 inhalation-exhalation. Deforestation flattens heartbeat amplitude like heart failure. Caring for biosphere thus becomes spiritual CPR. Cosmology offers final vista. Some propose universe is finite but unbounded like 4D hypersphere. Travel far enough and return to start. Perhaps soul likewise. Finite perspective, unbounded essence looping experience until enlightenment. Others imagine multiverse foam. Each life hops bubble to bubble, carrying quantum seed. The ekpyrotic model pictures cyclical brain collisions. Soul might oscillate across bangs. Whichever model holds, consciousness seems integral to cosmos, questioning itself. Astronomer Carl Sagan. We are a way for the universe to know itself. Addendum. We are a way for the universe to feel its own shape. We near closure. What have we gathered? Shapes plural. Flame, bird, sphere, wave, network, process. Common denominators. Luminosity, mobility, symmetry, relationship. Soul seems less object than verb. Shaping and being shaped. Final teaching. Practice determines profile. Breathe kindness. Soul rounds. Hoard fear. Soul contracts. Observe without clinging. Soul turns mirror clear. Imagine crafting your soul the way an architect drafts a city. Morning journaling etches boulevards of intention. Breathwork widens plazas of calm. Loving kindness directs traffic toward empathy. Neuroimaging shows that 8 weeks of consistent compassion practice thickens left temporoparietal junction, area for perspective taking. Brain shapes behavior. Behavior reshapes brain. Soul rides the feedback spiral. Visual artists intuit this. They pour turmoil onto canvas, then hang transfigured memory back on the wall. Viewers absorb pigment, feel seen, heal micro-wounds. In systems theory, this is autopoiesis, self-creation through continuous exchange. The soul, then, is conversation between neuron and nebula, pigment and pupil, microtubule and myth. Technology may soon amplify this conversation. Neural lace prototypes weave graphene threads through cortex, promising thought-to-text fluency. If internal monologue externalizes instantly, private contour becomes public architecture. No border control. Ethical design must encode consent, else corporations mine prayers. By contrast, open-source brain-computer art could let choirs of minds improvise symphonies of qualia, turning concert halls into shared lucid dream. Collective creativity could sculpt a choral soul, polyphonic presence larger than any singer. Yet speed risks shallows. Algorithms crave clicks, flooding channels with dopamine loops. Soul shrinks to thumb scroll reflex. Digital hygiene becomes spiritual hygiene. Fasting from feeds, walking in forest, reclaiming sense radius bigger than screen. MRI data confirm that even 10 minutes of green exposure quiets amygdala threat circuits. Nature remains prime tonic. Fractals of leaf vein, echo, fractals of lung bronchi, recalibrating resonance. Try this micro practice. Sit upright. Exhale fully. Inhale for 4 counts, imagining light ascending spine. Pause. See it arc over crown. Exhale 6 counts. Light descending front torso. You have traced the microcosmic orbit taught in Taoist alchemy. Scientists call it controlled respiration lengthening heartbeat interval, boosting vagal tone. Subjectively, many report an oval glow enveloping body. Classic auric egg. Here, physiology and subtle cartography overlap, reinforcing hypothesis. Shape is felt organization of energy and information. Love, arguably the strongest morphogen, bends soul outward. Functional MRI shows mothers gazing at infants activate mesolimbic dopamine, along with fusiform gyrus facial maps. The brain literally sculpts reward around beloved contours. Mystics universalize this. Extend mother love to all beings. You birth a boundless body of compassion. When Tibetan Tonglen practitioners imagine inhaling others' pain as dark smoke and exhaling relief as white light, EEG registers synchrony with those observed in the love targets. Empathy may be quantum entanglement at social scale. Mirror neurons fire. Heart fields entrain. Shapes merge. Shadow work tempers love. By journaling resentment, naming envy, we spotlight warp threads in tapestry. Clinical trials of psychedelic-assisted therapy reveal that confronting shadow imagery predicts long-term reductions in depression. Participants describe meeting jagged creatures, then embracing them until they dissolve into light. Brain scans show amygdala-hippocampus decoupling, prefrontal integration. The soul's silhouette alters once excluded parts reintegrate. We have circled myths of bird, flame, mirror, danced with spheres, spirals, toroids, strolled MRI corridors and quantum valleys, coded avatars and sung mantras. Themes converge. Luminosity. Awareness appears as light across cultures, from halo to biophoton. Mobility. Soul flies, floats, uploads. A verb more than noun. Symmetry seeking. Mandalas, fractals, tensegrity point to homeostasis. Relationship. Soul is braided between bodies, ecosystems, data threads. Contradictions remain. Immortal spark versus emergent pattern. Formless unity versus anthropoid duplicate. Local heart flame versus non-local wave. Perhaps contradictions are complementary views of a hyper-object too vast for single frame, like blind monks meeting elephant. Each touch, tail, ear, trunk reports distinct shape, totality transcends any. Philosopher William James warned, "To grasp the thick of reality, we must bring many-handed minds. So let the hands join." Theologian, coder, shaman, physicist. Their models may hybridize into richer topography, a hollow atlas where quantum foam underlays archetypal mandala overlaying connectome highways. Travel such atlas with humility. Map is live updating. Ethical corollary. If soul extends through relational mesh, harming another warps one's own lattice. Ancient karma, modern interdependence, same math. Planetaries, crises. Climate, inequality, algorithmic bias are not external. They manifest distortions in collective subtle body. Healing requires systemic acupuncture, policy reforms, carbon sequestration, reparative justice, spiritual practice, needles into global meridians. Let us crystallize a closing practice. Tonight, lie beneath sky or ceiling, lights off. Place palm over heart, sense pulse. With each beat, imagine concentric rings pulsing outward, passing walls, trees, satellites, galaxies. Notice mind's horizon stretch. After 3 minutes, reverse. With each beat, rings collapse inward to single photon in chest. Feel density of presence. You have just expanded and collapsed soul shape, sphere to point, macro to micro, echoing sacred maxims. As above, so below. Tattvam asi. Carry this elasticity into tomorrow. When anger crowds throat, widen perimeter to hold sensation like storm inside cathedral. When joy arrives, contain it gently, lest attachment clamp its wings. Remember clay vessel koan. Soul may be the empty capacity to receive any impression. If asked again, what shape is soul? Answer with presence, not picture. Extend hand, pick up cup, sip water, straight sides, curved lip, transparent wetness, soul-shaping world, world-shaping soul, inseparable. Our exploration nears pause, not end. Next episode journeys into ego death or soul rebirth. We will probe dissolving identity, dark nights, phoenix rites. Until then, keep cartographer's curiosity. Sketch the intangible with breath, music, justice. Stay curious, stay luminous. History is a hall of mirrors, each era polishing a facet of the same gem. Egypt's bay bird hovered. Plato's sphere spun. Kabbalah's sephiro laddered. Descartes' mind floated. Neuroscience networks fired. Quantum waves rippled. Algorithms copied. Forests breathed. Each vision etched contour onto the invisibility cloak we call self. Instead of discarding any, imagine stacking transparencies. Bird wings align with quantum probabilities. Sphere encloses toroidal heart field, neural connectomy. Threads the lattice, aura glows, where fascia tensegrity bends light. The composite flickers like a hologram. Move your head and shapes blend, revealing depth no single sheet contains. From this vantage, ethics becomes cartography maintenance. If soul overlaps neighbor's outline, cruelty vandalizes shared boundary, kindness fertilizes mutual edge. Indigenous law of reciprocity, Buddhist interbeing, systems theory feedback, same instruction. Treat every encounter as sacred geometry under construction. Daily choices are chisels. Attention sharpens lines, distraction blurs, gratitude gilds, cynicism erodes. Nations have soul shapes too. Policies inscribe curvature of collective field. When legislation lifts the marginalized, aura of polis brightens. When greed pollutes river, civic meridian clogs. Healing politics may begin with citizens practicing subtle attentiveness. Voting as acupuncture needle. Protest as breath of prana through stagnant channel. Education can pivot from rote to soul literacy, teaching children to sense inner perimeter, regulate breath, decode metaphor. Art class becomes mandala lab, math becomes sacred ratio dance, history becomes genealogy of soul symbols. Graduates carry internal compass resilient against algorithmic storms. Companies could measure success by resonance index. Does workplace widen or contract employees' fields? Design teams might test interfaces for vagal uplift. Economics could track gross national coherence alongside GDP, rewarding systems that nourish subtle body of society. Death, viewed through this atlas, loses terror. It becomes phase shift, resonant jump to finer octave. Science may not certify, but narrative matters. Those expecting luminous gateway die calmer, leave smoother emotional footprint on survivors. Palliative care already includes guided imagery. Future hospices may feature VR journeys into personal mandalas, easing transition by familiarizing terrain. Mourning, too, can transform. Instead of clinging to vanished outline, loved ones learn to sense diffused presence. Subtle echo in dreams, synchronous symbols, electromagnetic memory in hearts. All paths converge on practice. Choose one gate. Breathwork, chant, journaling, forest walk, coding art. Enter with curiosity, exit with expanded coordinate grid. Then share map fragments, song, policy, hug, so collective atlas updates. That act might be the soul's master shape, a self-correcting network of gifts. Let us close in silence, then word. Inhale as though first breath of universe. Exhale as though last star dimming. Between those poles, the symphony plays, neurons sparking constellations, heart drumming primeval cadence, mind weaving myth from photon and memory. Whatever its ultimate architecture, wave function, web, wing, the soul is here, tasting this moment through you. If the question returns, does the soul have a shape? Answer with a smile, a question back, or a gesture of care. Any of these shapes, the field. And should doubt whisper, recall Rilke, leave the questions now. Perhaps you will, gradually without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. Thank you for traveling these 2 hours of luminous cartography. The journey inward continues. Episode 2 will plunge into thresholds where ego dissolves and phoenix soul rises. Until then, stay curious, stay luminous, shape wisely. If this stirred something inside you, subscribe, like, and share this with a fellow seeker.